Hey there guys, and welcome back to the Travis and Damian Podcast, episode 84. We're available on anchor.fm/Travis Damian Podcast, along with Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. First, we're going to get into our recent activities in gaming and anime. Then we'll be talking about gaming and entertainment news, including Attack on Titan, the final season, Moon Knight, and E3 2022. Lastly, our thoughts on the new PlayStation Plus benefits. So first off, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see our faces. So this is something that I brought up to Damian last episode just because we've been doing the YouTube version as just like a JPEG for a very, very long time. And I've noticed that we could probably do face cams if we, put our brains together. So the timestamps that you used to see on screen will still be in the description below, just like with Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, obviously. So, what are your thoughts, Damian, on this new transition?
No, I mean, I like it. Like my wall is like really blank here. I promise, like it looks like I'm a psycho, but like all my like gamer stuff is like forward since my computer is like towards the back of the wall because I just like it like that. So I will try to get something back here so it doesn't look awful.
We got Mugman there.
I do have Mugman. Yeah, Mugman's over there. That's about like the only thing here. So I'll probably put some stuff back there. But it's nice to like have like face cams and stuff. Hopefully it could be like more enjoyable to like watch it instead of just listening to it if you like want to do that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, hopefully it just makes the shows more interesting and stuff. So that's I think what we were kind of aiming for.
Exactly. Okay, so first we're gonna get into our recent activities. We're gonna try a new format. So do you want to go first, Damien? Because I got, as you can tell, I got a list again.
Okay, yeah, I'll go first. So, Kirby and the Forgotten Land came out. Okay, let me just put you over here. Kirby and the Forgotten Land came out. Sorry, we're still getting used to like the whole setup here. Yeah, Kirby and the Forgotten Land came out. It came out I think like 2 weeks ago now or something, and it's really good. It's the first time Kirby's been in 3D. I think a lot of people have been asking for this for a while now. I thought the last few Kirby games were all really good. I think Star Allies was the only one that was pretty like mediocre. Like it wasn't that bad, but it was a lot weaker than all the other ones, especially compared to Robobot, which I thought that was like fantastic. I thought that's like peak 2D Kirby. If I have to say that,
100%.
Like I thought the gimmick was really good. Like all the new powers were really good. Like everything about it was just really good. And then Star Allies came out, and I think a lot of people were pretty disappointed it wasn't like 3D from the start. And I mean, I think that's understandable. They were probably just like, we need something on the Switch, so just put this out. And like I said, it was okay. Like it was just like a Kirby by the numbers. And compared to the other 3 Kirby games that came out before it, it was really like, mid.
Yeah.
But now, Kirby, just like any other game that's been coming out recently, is having like a big overhaul. And with this, it's basically just 3D, right? Like it's the same Kirby gameplay, just in 3D. And it works really, really well. Like this... It literally, if you have played a 2D Kirby game before, it's just that, but in 3D. And that doesn't sound too, like, revolutionary, but, like, it is. Because you can, like, move around, in a 3D space. The level designs are a lot more, I guess, complex and stuff. So, not too crazy. But, I feel like they have more freedom to do different types of mechanics now just because it's in a 3D space. Because I think they kind of exhausted everything they could do in 2D with Kirby at this point. So I think going with the third dimension here, like really helped the level design a lot. For instance, like you can't just like hover around the whole map anymore, like you can in the 2D games. Yeah, like Kirby's like stuck. Like you can only go a certain height with your floating stuff, and then after you do it for a few seconds, you just start floating down. So like levels can actually have like some platforming bits to it. It's not like hard or anything, but it's still like really appreciated. And just the way the abilities work in 3D, there's not many of them. I think there's only like 10 abilities or 12. But like one of them is sleep and one of them is crash, and those 2 don't really count. So it's really only like 10. But I think all the abilities work really well in 3D. You have all the classic ones like fire, sword, hammer. And I think they all work really well. Their movesets are a lot more simplified compared to something like Superstar Ultra or Robobot. But I think they have all the what you call the signature moves and stuff. Like, everything you expect to do with a sword, you can still do. You can't do any of the fancy stuff, but you can still do all the things you pretty much expect to do. And the way that abilities have more variety in this game is you can evolve your abilities, and they actually do change some of the abilities quite a lot. Like some of the final upgrades you get are pretty crazy, and it really didn't felt like there was like less abilities just because of the whole evolution mechanic, which was nice. I'm a big fan of any game like that. Like, that's why I love Ratchet and Clank so much, because, you have your gun and just change a whole different thing, like, once you level it up, and it's kind of the same thing here, except you, like, buy it with currency. But yeah, as for like the levels themselves, like I said, I think they're just like so much better than the 2D games. The 2D games, you kind of just float around everywhere and like just beat the shit out of everything, and it's fun because that's Kirby. But there wasn't like too much like actual like platforming skill or anything else. This game kind of changes that. We actually need to think about what you're doing a little more. The mouthful mode, I think it's really fun. Like, it's still really cursed, like how Kirby just sucks in a whole car and stuff. That's still really cursed. But sort of like the other games with their gimmicks, usually have like a level or a section of a level dedicated to to that certain mouthful mode thing. So like in Robobot, you had some sections that were like just for the Robobot and stuff. And this game's like the same thing. But I think they went really creative with all the mouthful mode stuff. Like, I think the car, it had all the races and you gotta go fast and stuff, like what you expect with a car. You have like, what was another one over here? Like, you have like this like one where you like suck like a circle and you can like shoot air blast. That one was fun because you can also like turn it into like a boat sail. Like, so you have like sort of boat segments and shit. That's really cool. They got really creative with a lot of these mouthful mode abilities, and it was something I didn't expect to like as much as I did, but it really did add a lot of variety to the levels, and it just went really creative with it, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And I guess the last thing I really want, 100% the game, by the way, so like I already did everything. It took me a while. It was like 20 hours. Like it wasn't like short. But yeah, and the final thing I want to really say is like the boss fights I thought were really good. I think Kirby always has really good boss fights for like a Nintendo game. But these, like, since they're like in 3D now, you have like sort of like pseudo like sort of like raid mechanics and shit, like, or just like, I don't want to say Dark Souls, but like, you have like dodge roll and stuff, and it's pretty fun. Like, I think some of the later fights, like all like the final fights were like legit like super fun. Like, they weren't that hard because again, you become really overpowered in this game with like all the upgrades you could get, but just like the boss fights and like their patterns and stuff, it's a lot of fun. Like, it was some good stuff, and graphically, I think the game also looks really good. Performance-wise, it runs at 30, like what you expect for a Switch game. But I think the game like ran pretty well, and it looks really nice. Like, it's really vibrant. Music's great. It's definitely like a top 3 Kirby game for me. I'll say
definitely
that.
top 3. Is it number 3 or number 2?
It's probably I need to give it more time because like Superstar Ultra is probably still number 1 for me, then Robobot, then probably this game. And honestly, I'm just excited for the future, right? Because I loved Return to Dreamland, which is when they started doing the 2.5D Kirby games again, and then I loved Treble Deluxe, and then it was Robobot. So it's only going to like evolve into better things as they make sequels to like this Kirby formula. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to like the next Kirby games. But as this game is right now, it's really good. Like, if you're a Kirby fan or really just like a 3D platformer fan, then just get it. It's really good.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna buy it when I finish school because right now it's like a little bit tough. But
yeah, it's a little tough. But luckily with Kirby games, there again, I 100% it, so it's gonna be longer than what most people will probably go through. But I think the base game is probably like 7 hours, so it's not too long. So
yeah, probably average for like a normal Kirby game.
Yeah, Kirby game 3D platformer. That's pretty much what you expect. Yeah, definitely a lot of fun. I loved it. So next up, I think I talked about this a little bit last podcast, but I didn't really play too much of it. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. So this is basically like the next Borderlands game. It's just not that. It's like a spin-off, I guess. It's based off the DLC from Borderlands 2, which was also based off like a D&D type thing. So instead of being all sci-fi like Borderlands usually is, it's now like medieval and like D&D based. So you have like dice everywhere, and like they make a bunch of D&D jokes that I don't understand because I don't play D&D. But I love the aesthetic. Like, I think the fantasy setting works really well with Borderlands, and that's all it was really in the Borderlands 2 DLC. It was more aesthetics and stuff, like you're fighting goblins and stuff. Like, and it was really cool. Like, I love that DLC. It was definitely the best DLC like any Borderlands game. But this game takes it a step further by making mechanics actually reflect its theme now. So now you have spells and stuff instead of grenades, and those are so much better. I'm playing like a spell shot, which is basically like the mage of this game. And I'm heavily focused on spells because I know what guns feel like in Borderlands. Like, I kind of want to do the new stuff, and it's really fun. Like, they really heavily incentivize you to use spells, either from like buffing spells, debuffs, status effects, just like blasting them with fireballs and stuff. And it's a ton of fun. Like, you could also, like, with my class, you could dual wield spells and stuff, so you could have 2 of them instead of like 1. And with like one hand, you can use a spell and shoot at the same time. It's like really fucking cool. I really, really like that. It's like a ton of fun. I've always been a big like sort of mage guy. Like I love magic and stuff, and having it in I guess like a looter shooter, it has like a ton of like novelty to it. Like I actually really like that in Destiny as well, but Destiny is a lot more focused on gunplay rather than your abilities. Well, at least it used to be. I think now it's kind of like turned around on that. But
oh yeah,
yeah. But with those mechanics are really sick. I think the writing, I mean, it's Borderlands writing, so you're either going to like it or hate it. I never mind it that much. Like, I think people are always, like, really hard on it. And, yeah, I get it. Like, a lot of it's hit or miss. But, I don't know. I chuckle at it sometimes. I'd say Borderlands 2 is probably the weakest in terms of, like, the writing and stuff. It was definitely the one that maybe laughed the least. This one seems the humor's a lot more in line with Borderlands 2, which I kind of liked a lot more. Just with the feeling of it, too. It feels a lot more like Borderlands 2 with the gameplay improvements from Borderlands 3. So yeah, so far so good. I'm really enjoying it so far. I really like the areas. They're really different from anything I've seen in Borderlands so far. A lot of like fantastical forest and like other stuff like snowy mountain peaks, like stuff you don't really see in Borderlands because they're kind of just in wastelands all the time. So it's really good to see some variety in the locations and stuff. But yeah, it's really good so far, and I'm hoping to beat it. I heard it's not too long, so I'm hoping to beat it before next podcast. But yeah, it's really good. And I have Attack on Titan, but I think we're going to talk about it after you do your stuff. So.
We'll talk about that last. So I'll try to get through my stuff relatively quick. So Fortnite, the no building stuff is still super duper fun. Just doing duos or squads with my girlfriend it's still fun. Valorant with the boys, that's still a game that I am enjoying a lot of, just because it's like a multiplayer game that all 5 of us are playing, because, you know, it used to be League all those years ago, and here we are. And then I did actually play some Destiny 2. I didn't put that on here, but yeah, my girlfriend was just like, let's play Destiny. And I was like, what the fuck? Crazy. Okay, yeah. But it is fun. She does like looting in Fortnite a lot. So, you know, let's just play a fucking looter shooter then, you know what I'm saying? So
I mean, you probably would like Borderlands then. Just like turn off the dialogue.
Yeah.
Like it's fun. Like
you know what? Maybe we should play Borderlands.
Yeah. Also, it has like an ending, right? Because Destiny is a live service game. So.
Yeah. So maybe I'll bring that up to her later. But yeah, Destiny 2, it's fun. It's pretty much what I expected. I'm just, you know, mowing down enemies. There was a mission that we played, and then we died, and then we came back, and then it like broke. Like when we came back from the checkpoint, it like broke. We were playing with someone else, and we were like, "Yo, dude, just like die, and we'll try to like restart it." And then we restarted it, and then we were just like, "Fuck it!" Like this thing just broke. I don't know what happened. No. But that's pretty much everything I've been playing. So I did see the Sonic 2 movie. I wasn't gonna see it until a little bit later, but the Wednesday was like the early access thing, and they had like this like free poster.
Oh shit, that looks sick.
So yeah, I was just like, well, you know, if they don't have this free shit, and also there was a comic book, so I was like, well, if I'm gonna be a fucking Sonic nerd, I might as well see what the other.
Yeah, kind of obligated to see it.
Might as well see what the other Sonic nerds on Wednesday. So, no spoilers. I did write a Medium article on it, so if you want to check that out, I believe it's tvsonic.medium.com. Hopefully, if I'm correct. But yeah, it is that. I did write an article on this movie in a much more well thought out way, but pretty much my TLDR review is that it's fucking good. Like, I think that if you like Sonic in any capacity, you should definitely go see this in theaters. Like, Damian, go see this shit.
I'm probably gonna see it. My brother just texted me like, he's like, yo, people are like really liking this.
Yeah, I mean, it's really fucking good. I'm gonna give it up. It was definitely a lot better than I expected. I know that they were going to adapt certain things from Sonic 2 and 3 from the Genesis games just because they got fucking Knuckles in there, so they gotta do that. But they adopted a lot more than I thought they would, and it's really good the way that they tie everything together in this new version of Sonic. Like, if you like the first movie, you probably already have plans to go see the second one. But like, if you like Sonic, like at any point in your life, do yourself a favor, go see this movie. Even if you haven't seen the first one, the second one is so much fun just because Tails and Knuckles are in there, and the way that the movie actually like is paced decently well. I think that really does help it because there's a lot going on, but the fact that they're able to pace it well with all of these new characters and these new elements, like it's really, really good. And then I watched Daredevil season 1 because I need to show my girlfriend that, because I'm just like, you didn't know who the fuck Daredevil was? I'm gonna fucking turn you into a Daredevil fan. So, yeah, it's still really, really, really good. Like, if you never watched Daredevil, like Damian, once again,
I know,
y'all already know what I'm gonna fucking say. But yeah, Daredevil season 1, it's really good. You know, it is definitely very, very violent. If you watch all of the MCU stuff and then you go into this and you're like, well, shit, someone got their fucking, head, destroyed by a car door. Then some other shit happens that I honestly forgot. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that did happen. But yeah, Daredevil's really, really good. Book of Boba Fett, I forgot to talk about this last episode, I think, but it's bad. Honestly, just watch episodes 5 and 6. The first 4 episodes leading up to those, I was just like, man, this shit kind of boring. Like, honestly, like, the first episode was fine because, they're trying to set up Boba Fett and, like, where he's been. But, like, after that, I'm just like, this shit's not it, So once they bring in the Mandalorian stuff in and, with all of the other spoilers that I just fucking said. But, yeah, I mean, like, it's sort of, like, common knowledge now because they've, like, officially tweeted shit and, like, put posters up. But, I mean, 5 and 6 are kind of cool. The finale, which is episode 7, isn't even, like, that hype either. But 5 and 6 are, like, the 2 episodes that you definitely should check out. Now for my anime/manga, so I'll try to get through these quickly. So AnyList.co/user/TVSonic if you guys want to keep up to date as to what the fuck I'm doing with my anime/manga. So Tokyo Revengers. This was a series that I just recently picked back up for the anime because I was like, people say this is like a really good shonen. And like I watched 5 episodes and like it was good. Like I was enjoying it, but I was like, I don't know if I want to keep going. So now all 24 episodes are out, which is pretty much like 2 separate anime seasons that they did. But they just didn't do it like part 1 or part 2, which we'll get into that later. But Tokyo Revengers is 24 episodes, so the first 12 came out and then the last 12 came out in the following season. But I'm on episode 20 out of 24, so I'm pretty close to the end. But yeah, it's really good, honestly. Like I think that if you like the idea of sort of like the sort of like gang stuff that's going on with like the sort of like street violence and shit like that, and like there's also like a time traveling aspect to it, which is kind of interesting and also a little confusing at first, but once you understand how it works, it does get fun to sort of see them go between the past and the present and shit like that. So yeah, I definitely recommend people give it at least 6 episodes, because I think where I stopped at 5 was okay, but at the end of episode 5 it did get kind of crazy, which I don't know why I stopped. But yeah, it's really good. I think that the characters are very interesting and very compelling, and yeah, I cannot wait to see season 2 whenever that comes out, because the manga's like, it's very far behind for the English print release because they've only done it digitally. But now they're printing it, I believe, this upcoming fall. So I'll buy those and I'll read them, but I'm not gonna, go online and like read ahead unless it's like really good. By the end of it, I might change my mind by next episode. Who the fuck knows? But yeah, and then the other things that I've been doing has been all with manga. So I finished Demon Slayer. So I finished the final chapter. Let me see on my annie list. I finished the final chapter last year in August 7th. I wrote it in the fucking notes, but I went to go check my annie list. Anyways, I'm fucking dumb. So I just finished reading the first 6 volumes because I skipped those because that's where the anime sort of like stopped. So I just finished all of it like literally like a couple minutes ago, or I should say an hour ago or so. But yeah, I mean, I just love Demon Slayer. Like, if you don't know anything about Demon Slayer, just watch episode 1. If you like shonen, you probably have already watched it. But, Demon Slayer is fucking great. And the manga is, it doesn't look as good as the anime, but that's just because the anime, is able to do a lot more with it, obviously, visually. Right. But still, it's a great manga. I love Demon Slayer. And then I've been reading Komi Can't Communicate, volumes 16 and 17. So these 2 volumes, 16... took a while to come in because I had this shit on pre-order and it was with other stuff in my Right Stuff order, but 17 I got actually earlier than 16. But anyways, Komi Can't Communicate. It's still a super wholesome, super fun series. It is going in an interesting direction, which I do like right now. So I wonder how that's going to pan out with Komi and shit like that. But yeah, really, really fun. And one last thing, Horimiya. I'm on volume 10 now, to anyone wondering. Still a wholesome sort of series about, people dating and fucking high school shenanigans and shit like that. Slice of life, what the fuck? Right. What else can you ask more? But anyways, let's get into Attack on Titan, the final season, part 2. So we're going to talk about spoilers, and then we'll talk about the whole part 3 announcement afterwards. So what'd you think of the season, Damian?
It was fucking awesome. I loved it. I'm kind of an Attack on Titan simp. I fucking love the series, like, a lot. Mm-hmm. And I think the way they're going is I mean, there's spoilers. I could say things.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that concerns me is the Attack Titan's power being like the whole time travel thing. But it's not like it came out. Well, it's not time travel. It's more like I don't fucking know. It's like changing memories or like altering. But it already happened. It's weird. But it's not like that came out of nowhere. Like they already hinted at that because when the original Attack Titan gave it to Aaron's dad, he was like, "Oh, protect Mikasa and Armin or whatever," and his dad was like, "What?" And then the owl guy was just like, "I have no idea what I just said." So yeah, like it was a very like hinted at. So it's not like it came out of nowhere, and I kind of suspected something like that was going to happen. But yeah, it's still a little concerning whenever like sort of time stuff gets into it, like in anime or any show, because I feel like it's pretty easy to mess that stuff up. Again, I'm like kind of preparing myself because I know people say the manga ending is kind of mid.
Yeah.
I still don't see it though. Like I still think the show has been really good and I've been really enjoying it. So I'm like kind of bracing myself for like something dumb to happen. But right now I can't really see it because it's been really good. Like my favorite episode has probably been what was it? The one where it was all Ymir's backstory and stuff. I thought that was really good. And you know they don't give you all the answers or whatever. Like we still don't know what like really was the origin of like the Titans or how she got her power. It's just so like some like parasite thing went to her back and like that's about it. I like they still kept some mystery about that stuff, and obviously like all the drama and all that stuff is still really really good. Like I think the second to last episode was like really good.
Oh yeah.
That was like probably like one of the best Attack on Titan episodes for a while, and probably like Declaration War was probably like the last really like poggers like thing. But holy shit, that episode was really good. And I honestly thought the finale was just okay. Like I thought they probably could have ended it in a better note, like a little more hype. But whatever. Like it was still a really good season. I really enjoyed it.
I mean, me personally, I really like the finale because it does sort of like slow things down.
Yeah. Like I think it's important to like slow things down and stuff, but I still felt like it's like, oh, it's the attack on Titan, and then that's how it ends. But it was still good. But I thought the second to last episode was like actually like amazing. So
yeah, I mean, the whole politics has always been like the main focal point of Attack on Titan as to why I love it so much. And this part of the final season has been like really fucking good because like you're my friend but I have to fucking kill you. I'm like, bro, man, this shit OD. Like what the fuck is going on? These guys are fucking insane right now.
I really do like it because the show is very not like black or white. Like it's very like gray with a lot of its things. Like you don't know really who to root for or who's right. But obviously now Eren is kind of going like a genocidal like rampage, so that's bad. But you know, like obviously Armin and like everyone else like are like, okay, yeah, we should probably stop him. Like, yeah, he's trying to defend our island and stuff, but like he's going a little too far now. You know, and I think characters like Flock and stuff or whatever his name was, like I also think they're like good villains or whatever because it shows like how nationalism could get to like people and like how it could like cloud your judgments. Oh no, he's protecting. I mean, same thing with like the townsfolk, like when they were like going to I forgot, they were like going somewhere and they were like the townsfolk were being all weird, like, no, Aaron's gonna be our savior now or not and stuff. Like, I thought they did that stuff really well because I think like nationalism is always gonna be like a pretty like hard thing to talk about in like animes or anything. So I think Attack on Titan does it pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I always think that the action always comes second for Attack on Titan. The politics always come first.
Basically, I think anyone that like is expecting that is like, I mean, it's not a shonen. Like, you know, I think like the action scenes are enhanced because of all the drama and politics stuff. Like, if you don't really like that stuff, like I don't really know how you got this far into Attack on Titan, because most of it is politics and like stuff. Yeah. But that's like the juicy stuff, right? Like, obviously the action like scenes are like to like sort of like put it all together and stuff.
Yeah, to like complement it and sort of like you know, build up where the conflict's going, and then once it builds up, it's like, all right, now we're gonna fucking fight and shit like that. But yeah, I really enjoyed this season. Maybe it's because I binged a lot of the episodes back to back because I
basically binged the whole thing.
I was putting like a lot of episodes off. I think after like episode 5 of this part, I was just like, I'm gonna wait a little bit and try to avoid spoilers. I did avoid spoilers for the most part, but you know, when I see a Mikasa video, I'm like, oh shit, I can't watch that. She's gonna do some like pog shit. I know, but like, you know, like I can't see it. But yeah, I mean, like I think that Attack on Titan hasn't really peaked for me since the first season, in my opinion, just because like I was going into it with like no expectations. So now when I'm going into it with like some sort of expectation of like what's gonna happen, even then like I don't know what the fuck's happening. I like, what the fuck's going on with the Jaegerists and like all of this other shit. I'm like, what the fuck? But yeah, I think that part 2 is like really really good, and the reason why they're like doing it in parts, which are like, I guess we could go and get into now. Unless you have something else to say about the second part.
Not really. I think it was just like no, I mean, it's gonna go into like our next discussion anyway. So yeah, might as well go into the part 3 announcement.
Yeah, I mean, them announcing part 3 and not doing a whole movie thing because that was rumored for a while. I think it's smart just because like if they were to do a movie, I don't know how much left is in the manga, obviously.
Yeah, apparently there's 8 chapters left.
8 chapters that can work. I think that can work because the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero movie, it's only 4 chapters, but they extended it obviously with like filler and shit. So they could do it in a movie, but they decided to keep it in a TV series, which is good. I think that was the smarter move just because now they're able to actually take their time and like get everything out there without having to be constrained to a 2-hour movie or less sort of thing.
Yeah, honestly, I'm very happy it's not a movie. I fully expected it to be a movie too. Like I thought they were gonna do like the end of Attack on Titan or something. Like I thought for sure that's what it was gonna be. But I'm really happy it's getting like another season because I think they could flesh things out more. They could take their time. They don't have to like sort of like rush like the ending. I already heard like from the manga. I don't know anything besides I heard some people just not liking it or they felt rushed. But yeah, so maybe if they could add some more scenes to maybe flesh out the ending, or people were not too satisfied with it, like because apparently they've been adapting like a chapter per episode. Apparently that's what they've been doing. So
that's crazy.
So yeah, I guess these chapters are really dense. Usually anime seasons are 12 episodes, so hopefully they have some time to with those remaining episodes. Like if they do adapt the 8, they could fill in some scenes, like not filler, but maybe some necessary exposition or like conclusions to some arcs or whatever. Like I think that it's better as another season. And I know it's a meme where it's like, oh, here's Attack on Titan final season for real this time. But I do like they are taking that time. I think Mappa really should have not called season 4 the final season part 1. It probably should have just been called season 4. And maybe this one could have been final season because I think now it kind of just looks like they're just doing it for like build hype, like did all the way back then. They had so many chapters left to adapt. Like, that was a little crazy to just call that a final season. So
yeah, I mean, like they could have put it all together in the final season without having the parts, but because of how seasonal anime works, they're like, well, we'll just do the part thing because, like I said, with Tokyo Revengers, they could have done like a part 1 and a part 2. And like with a Spy Family coming out, I think tomorrow or whatever, they already announced that like there's gonna be like a part 2 to it. I guess like a season 2 sort of thing. And I think Komi Can Communicate also did the same thing where it's like season 1, season 2, but they look very much like the same in terms of like how the season looked, but whatever. And also because they come out so close to each other, it's obvious that they were working in tandem with the first and second season.
Yeah, it's basically one season. They just call it 2. It's like the one, like, it's 24 episodes, right? So
yeah. So they're pretty much just being like, well, if we could stretch it out a little bit, and like.
And they definitely just want to stretch it out too for like money and hype and stuff because that's why I'm really surprised they didn't go for a movie because like that would have made so much money. But I'm really glad it didn't. Like, if it was a movie, it would have made way more money. But I think it would have just harmed the anime more than help it. So yeah, I'm really glad they decided to go for a season 3, even if it is a meme and it does feel like it's kind of stretching it a bit. I think it should take their time. I think this is a story that's really, really big, and it kind of needs like this like 3 season ending. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Attack on Titan, the original season came out in 2013. So like
it's been going for a while.
Yeah, this shit's almost 10 years long, guys. So, they're going to make sure that they're going to try to end it the way that it was meant to be. And like you said earlier with like adjusting the anime to maybe have the ending be better, that can be a thing. I know that certain animes do that just because it's like, well, people don't like the ending. So we'll change it up a little bit. We'll make some changes to make it more appealing to fans of the show and hopefully, to people that only watch the anime like us. So, yeah, I mean, like, part 3, it is a meme. But then again, with the whole seasonal anime thing, and they don't want to, have... Because, like, with Tokyo Revengers in particular, like, the reason why I'm having, like, now a hard time, like, finishing it is because it's like, oh, now I have to watch episode 21 instead of, like, episode, I guess, like, 8 or 9 in terms of, like, a season. So, like, it seems like a much more daunting task before instead of like, oh, I'm just watching episode 7 or 8 or whatever, So that's just my thought process with it. And also like, I think that splitting anime into like 12 episode chunks just makes it more bingeable for like everyday people because like a 12 episode anime, you could do that in a day if you have like nothing else you're fucking doing.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Or like half of it, you know, depending on your time constraints or whatever. But yeah, I mean, you know, them doing another part of it, I was expecting that because I'm like, no way they're gonna fucking end this shit with part 2. And like I knew that they were gonna do that just because on Annie List there's no like out of 12 episodes or whatever. But I'm like, they're gonna do a part 3. Like they're gonna do something. So like you said, I'm also glad that it is a TV season and not a movie. But you know, they would have made bank.
I mean, the probably could just double dip, right? It's like, oh, we could make a movie and this is what Demon Slayer did, and just make it into a season.
Yeah, they could have done that.
I'm really happy it's not a movie. That's what I'm gonna say. Like, I'm, you know, oh, sorry, I gotta say, this is not a spoiler or anything, but I will say that the CG got a lot. Like, I think it got better.
Oh yeah,
like, I thought the CG looks a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm never like a stickler for CG in anime. Right. Like, if it looks bad, I'll be like, okay, like, come on, guys, like, try just a little bit harder. If it's like something like in the background, like cars or some shit, I'm like, oh, okay, like that's fine.
I mean, I don't really care about that. But just like, you know, whenever the Titan showed up, like, I'm like, it looks good. It looked a lot better than the previous season. Even then, I didn't think like the final season part 1 looked too terrible. So yeah, I thought it did a better job with the animation here. And you know, obviously if it was a movie, they probably would have a bigger budget and the 2D animate everything, but you know, whatever. I'll take a season any day.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's fucking Mappa, so they'll do what they gotta do. Okay, so moving on, we're going to talk about Moon Knight episodes 1 and 2, the Disney Plus series. We're also going to talk about spoilers for this, so if you haven't watched it yet or don't care about spoilers, stick around or don't. So Moon Knight. So Damian, what are your thoughts on episode 1 and 2?
Okay, so so with this one, I would say the CG is a little wacky.
Oh yeah.
It's just like it feels weird, right? Because I think the other Marvel shows, like, they all looked fine. Like, I never really had too many. They made some wonky CG every now and then, but for the most part, it looked like really like movie quality. Like, I think, like, I thought Loki was the most impressive to me. I really like Loki a lot, so I'll keep simping for that one. But in terms of Moon Knight, I definitely felt like the budget definitely took a hit. I don't know why, but a lot of it looks just like kind of weird. I think there's some issues also like Black Widow. I don't know, they've been like diverting resources to like bigger movies like Spider-Man or Doctor Strange, which I don't know, maybe that's the case, but it's also Disney. They have like $1 bajillion. So I don't really know what the deal is here, but yeah, some of the CG does look a little wacky. Luckily, there hasn't been too many fights really, like, or when he uses the Moon Knight like armor, or like he fought like 2 like Anubises, and like that's about it. So it hasn't been like too noticeable because it hasn't been big fight scenes yet. But I feel like when it is going to be a big fight scene, it's going to look pretty janky.
Yeah, I don't know why the CG looks so bad. I mean, like, I didn't notice it until my girlfriend pointed it out, and I was like, oh yeah, it does look a little shoddy, which, you know, we were discussing on how, you know, this is Disney. We're talking about, you know, they got $1 bajillion. They could do this and that. But what they probably did was they probably rushed it out for some reason. I don't know why they rushed it out. There's no reason to rush a series out like this, especially because it's Moon Knight, and like, you know, what are you going to offend like the 10 Moon Knight fans? No offense to them, but there's like, you know, it's not a lot of them as far as I could tell. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why the CG looks so shoddy. I know that this is a televised streaming series, so they could patch it later, but like, you don't want to do that because like people aren't going to rewatch shows like that unless they really love it. So yeah, definitely a little strange with the CG, but like, I think episode 1, like, people were loving that shit, and including me, because it was like the perfect sort of like intro episode to sort of like bring in the mystery of like what's going on with Steven/Mark and sort of like what the fuck's going on here with this Moon Knight character. So I really like episode 1. I think episode 2 is a nice follow-up. One thing that I was concerned about, because I got fucking spoiled it, was the whole like I guess like when Steven was like as Moon Knight and he was like being like goofy and like not knowing what the fuck was going on, that was spoiled to me, but like that was out of context. So I was like, what the fuck's going on with this serious series, the Moon Knight? You know, episode 1 was like so like edgy and shit, and now it's like goofy, and I'm like, what's going on? But after watching it and now having context, I'm like, oh, okay, it makes sense. Like, there's a reason why they're doing the MCU goofy bit during that stuff, is because it's fucking Steven, and like he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And like now that I kind of know what Moon Knight is, kind of, I guess, with the whole like sort of
multi-personality thing.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Like that's kind of interesting, and I am liking the show so far.
Yeah, I legit did not know that. All I know, he was like the random bullshit guy go meme, and that's about it. But yeah, I agree with you. I think episode 1 was really good. Because I didn't know what the hell was going on. Like, it was like really like disorienting because you know like what's going on or what's like, is he imagining all this? Like, where is he right now? Like, you know, like what personality he's taking over? Like, I didn't know like there was like Mark and like the god in him and stuff and like what's going on. So yeah, I thought episode 1 was a really good like sort of hook to be like you want to know what's going on, right? Like who's Mark, who's Moon Knight, who's like this Egyptian god thing. Like it was really good, and I think Steven is a likable character, you know, that the you know generic goofball like MCU sort of personality, but I don't know, it works. I like it, and you know, sort of seeing like how he just looks like a crazy person whenever all this stuff happens because I guess no one else can see it. It's pretty cool. And like sort of like Mark kind of like taking over like his own body and life and stuff, but again, we don't really know who's the real personality here. Like I don't really know what's going on. So yeah, that's really intriguing stuff. And then episode 2, you know, you see more about you learn more about all this stuff. How does like 2 gods and like the villain wants to like resurrect that one because he wants to be the avatar for that one. But I thought that stuff is like, you know, that's pretty cool. I didn't know. I legit did not know Moon Knight was like Egyptian based like at all. Yeah. So yeah, that was really cool to learn about all this because you know the MCU always goes through all these different mythological stuff. So it's cool that the Egyptian gods get something as well. And again, like really, the only down point about this series right now is the CG. But besides that, like I think everything else has been pretty interesting so far. And I think, like in the comics, he has like a third personality. I don't know if they're gonna do that, but I don't know. Like apparently, some people, because I like to read like the discussion posts on like Reddit and stuff to see if I'm missing anything. And apparently, in like the ending credits, like his face turns into 3. So I don't know if that's supposed to mean he has a third personality, or if that's like the god of like Moon Knight or whatever.
Or maybe they were just trying to do some cool end credit shit. And
yeah, it could be. But it's also like I don't know who acts that lady out in the first episode, right? Because like Steven is a vegan. Mark was like getting divorced and married. I don't think he would do that. So like I don't know. That was kind of weird because he didn't know about the whole date thing in the first episode. So I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too hard about it. But it's cool. It's good to always like, you know, think about all these weird stuff that this show's doing because it's pretty trippy, and I really like that.
Yeah, and like as it's coming out, you get to see people, you know, who are actual comic book nerds and be like, about this thing, by the way.
Yeah, actually.
So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely having a lot of fun with this show. It is weird that they're like, this is like a different topic, but like that they're like nerfing like the sort of like Captain America show, the Falcon Winter Soldier show with like the blood, and then like this show, it's like very clear that there's blood and shit, and it's like kind of crazy like what's going on.
Yeah, I don't really get why they're doing that. like if it was fine for all these months and now they decided to censor it, like I don't really know what that's about. Like when I logged into Disney Plus, I didn't use it in a while. That's when they added Daredevil and stuff. Like asked me like, oh, log in again, add a pin for the restricted stuff. I'm like, God damn, calm down. Like
they try to save their ass, that's why.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think that's kind of weird, like to just censor it like that. But whatever.
But yeah, I am definitely excited to see more Moon Knight just because Oscar Isaac in this role, like he does a very good job. And obviously like they got him as an actor because he can play both personalities like compellingly well. So yeah,
I don't know if you're like British. I don't know if it's like offensive. Like, I don't know if it, like to me it just sounds like that's a British person. But we're also like American, so I don't know if you're like British. It's like obvious that he's not like. But to me, he sounds like a British guy. So in like an American accent. So like he did a good job. So I don't know.
But yeah, we'll move on from there. I'll let you take this first story if you don't mind.
All right. Where are we? Breath of the Wild got delayed to 2023. Yeah. So honestly, this doesn't surprise me too much because there really hasn't been any news of this game since they shown it. Like I don't even remember when they last shown it. But yeah, they were never really strict on a release date. Just like it may come out this year, like later this year, but that's about it. And obviously it didn't. So and I think that's fine. Obviously spring 2023 is a big delay. That's like a whole year. It's not like early next year or whatever. Like it's like the whole next year. But I think that's fine. I think Breath of the Wild 2, I love Breath of the Wild 1. Like, it's one of my favorite games. One of my favorite Zelda games. Like, I loved it a lot. Just the way it, like, changed open world games forever. Like, so many games takes mechanics from this game now. Like almost every game you could like climb on anything. There's a glider always now. The game doesn't really like show you too many things where you're supposed to do. You're supposed to look it out yourself. Like I know Elden Ring is another big like game that's sort of changing the open world landscape. But Breath of the Wild did a lot to change like the game there. So I think Breath of the Wild 2 honestly has a lot more to prove than the first game did, just because you have to be like, all right, what's special about this game? Is it more of the same? Is it going to do new stuff? Like, obviously, I'm okay with more of the same, but I know some people usually aren't okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, when I was talking about Horizon, like, people were like, mad it was the same thing, but I'm like, it's a sequel. Like, they improved a lot of things from the first game, so I don't really know what the issue here is.
Yeah.
But,
I guess, different people have different expectations for sequels, which is a bit strange, I think.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, it's a sequel, so it's going to be more of the same, but hopefully better, right? So,
right.
with God of War Ragnarok, for example, like when they showed that trailer, then like Kratos got it in the boat, like in the same animation, people were like, oh, that's the same. It's like, okay, yeah, what? Do you want them to redo the whole animation where he like fucking spins into the boat or what?
Yeah, it's really weird. Because back then, like with PS2 games, I look at like all the Ratchet and Clank games, they're basically the same, like all the PS2 games, but they changed so many mechanics that like, if I showed you Ratchet and Clank 1 and 2, they basically look the same, right? But if you actually played those two games, you'll notice how much they changed. Like you could strafe, you could level up weapons, there's armor upgrades. Like you wouldn't know that if you just looked at it. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that's a stupid like argument. Like I think some people are going to want more change in sequels, but I think it's okay to have like if it's a direct sequel, it's okay to just be mostly the same. Like I don't really know what the issue here is.
Yeah, and like apparently for Breath of the Wild 2, I think the director he said that they want to do more stuff with the sky, which is going to be very interesting.
I think it's going to be like Skyloft or something. Like
Skyloft. Triggered.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that's because I feel like there's been a lot like wherever this is in the fucking Zelda timeline, whatever. Skyward Sword is like the first game in that like sort of thing. That's what Demise is like Ganon or some shit. Like, I kind of forgot what the lore was, but I know Breath of the Wild is supposed to be like is like the end or also the beginning. I actually don't know, but it makes sense that Skyloft would be kind of like a thing, so it's sort of like make a whole circle or whatever. And what was I gonna say? Shit. I had a point and I forgot. But yeah, I don't know. It makes sense if it's Skyloft because I feel like you could do a whole big area up there. You could have loft wings. You could fly around and shit. I think that would actually be pretty neat as long as you don't bring like fire or whatever, right? Like I think that's fine. But yeah, I'm really liking what they showed like just a little bit of gameplay here. They showed like the Master Sword looks a little different. It's like all rocky and shit. I don't know what's up with that. But yeah, no, I mean, I think the game is going to be great regardless. Like, I'm very excited to play Breath of the Wild 2. They need to take their time, Everyone's putting the Miyamoto quote everywhere now, the delayed games forever, whatever the hell.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I say take your time. I'm sure it's going to turn out great, and I'll buy it. So
yeah, like, they know that they're going to make their money back either way because it's Zelda, and people love Breath of the Wild especially. So having a Breath of the Wild 2 just on their minds is very powerful, I will say. But yeah, I mean, I think that, as a person that hasn't finished Breath of the Wild, but can appreciate it as a, sort of revolutionary sort of 3D open world game because that's fucking Zelda. Zelda's always been doing that.
Yeah.
I feel like that this game is trying to elevate the gaming landscape once again, and they are making sure that it's not gonna be rushed out and it's not gonna be buggy. They're trying to make sure this shit runs on the Switch, guys. Come on, like give them some more time.
Yeah.
But yeah, the last time we saw this was E3 last year, so that was like 9 months ago.
Right.
So it is what it is. It got delayed to next year, I believe, to the springtime. So that's not that bad. I think that time is sort of moving a lot faster as you get older and when you got shit going on. So
honestly, like this year is already like almost like halfway. I'm like, what's going on? There's also been a ton of games this year anyway, so like I'm okay with one game delayed, especially like a big game like Zelda. Like I'm okay. I still want to play Elden Ring and stuff because I know that's gonna be like so big in the game of the year discussion. I kind of want to be a part of that, so like I'm probably gonna try to make time for that probably over the summer. So yeah, I'm okay with one game being delayed, honestly.
I mean, any game getting released spring next year, you hope Zelda gets delayed again because holy fuck.
Yeah, everyone just stay away from that. Everyone just stay away from Zelda.
Yeah. But moving on, we're going to get into the next piece of news that E3 2022 is officially canceled, no physical or digital event. So, yeah, I mean, that sucks. I think it literally came out from like a tweet. He was like, yeah, well, like I got an email that like said, there's no E3, and I was like, what the fuck? So yeah, it is official. There will be no E3 event this year at all, which is kind of crazy, I think. Just because, like, there's been an E3 event sort of thing always happening every single year, but now it's just not going to happen. Either way, I think that you're also going to agree with this, is that people are still going to announce their shit during E3 time.
Yeah.
Nintendo's still going to do their Direct, PlayStation's still going to do their event, and PlayStation has been a part of E3 for, like, the past 2 or 3 years. So, stuff is still going to get announced over the summer, guys. And that's why I think Jeff Keighley announced, like, the Summer of Games thing. So
Summer Game.
Maybe that'll be better. Maybe that'll fulfill that void that people want for E3, because I know that there's people that don't just like the announcements of E3. They also like watching the, like, sort of, like, demos and, like, the sort of, like, interviews and all of that other stuff. So maybe that will fix it. Who knows? But we're just going to have to wait to get there and see exactly what happens, because Jeff Keighley has always been someone within the industry that wants to I guess keep gaming alive, if you will.
Yeah, Jeff Keighley has definitely been, like, working pretty hard. I think the Game Awards are usually, like, really fun to watch. Well, not really fun to watch, but they have, like, a better announcements than the last few E3s. So I guess that says a lot, and it wouldn't, like, surprise me if he tries to capitalize on E3 basically being dead now. He's probably just gonna make Summer Game Fest into, like, its own, like, basically just E3 not E3, where he invites, like, developers or whatever to, like, announce their stuff. And I agree with you with that. I think summertime is, like, that E3 June time or whenever is still gonna be full of game announcements anyway. Like, I think Nintendo will always have a Direct during that time anyway. Sony's probably gonna have a PlayStation showcase. Microsoft might show some stuff. Like, I think that time is probably still going to be a good time to announce stuff, just because it's the middle of the year and you want to announce whatever's coming up for the later half of the year plus early next year. So yeah, it makes sense that people will still announce their games while E3, like, it doesn't really matter. But again, I'm still, like, sad about it, just because I like E3. I like having everything in 3 days, like I said before. Just that condensed few days of just game announcements that I could just dedicate to watching streams or just doing whatever. And it just makes our lives easier too, just, like, document everything about, now there's this PlayStation Showcase and Nintendo Direct and all this other shit. So yeah, that's kind of annoying. Plus, I like the cringe. Like, I know some people are like, it's so cringy. Like, I love that. Like, how many times I watch, like, these E3 cringe compilations because they're funny. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like E3 has always been enjoyable to watch for me because, like, I don't mind it when they do cringy stuff because it's funny. I don't know. At least to me. Like, obviously, there's some boring ones. Like, EA is always pretty boring because they don't really do anything funny. But, you got, like, Ubisoft and you do some weird shit. It's like, that was weird, but it's funny.
Devolver Digital.
Yeah, Devolver is always, like, weird as well. Like, I don't know. Like, I laugh at it. So yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be sad if E3 really is dead. Hopefully Jeff Keighley could make something happen here and just make Summer Game Fest into E3, just not E3. Because I think this is it. Like, I don't know if E3 is going to come back after this. Last year, the last 2 years were understandable because of COVID and stuff. But I know the ESA, like, the people that run E3, have been getting a lot of flack with, like, not paying people or, like, just over, like, pricing their, like, venue space and stuff. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me if it does end up falling. And those 2 years without E3 really show that these companies don't really need it anymore because they're so big. They could just do their own thing and people will watch anyway. So yeah, I really don't think E3 is going to be coming back after this. Like, it was very dead. So, but yeah, I think this is it for E3. And it's honestly kind of sad seeing this happen, but what are you going to do? So,
I mean, it's apparently going to come back next year.
That's a lot. I
apparently.
Feel like, I mean, it could come back. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I just feel like, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's just like you can't.
You feel like that we don't need it anymore, sort of thing.
Yeah, I want it, but I feel like a lot of companies are already seeing like they don't really need it anymore. Like, at PlayStation already dipped like a while ago. Like, the last one they did was when they were in their tent showing like Last of Us 2. So that was the last time they really showed up. So, and Nintendo was never really there. Like, they're there, but not really. There's always been kind of separate. So. Yeah, I don't know. All they had was Microsoft at that point. And, like,
I mean, literally, you just cut the middleman out, which is ESA, and then you don't have E3, but you still have those events going on throughout May, June time or whatever. Yeah. And, they can rent out their own venue. They could negotiate with other sort of places and, take more money in for those tickets and shit like that. So,
I mean, I think that's what Jeff Keighley might do. Like, he might make it a lot cheaper.
He might do that. Who knows? Just because, like...
I mean, it's free real estate now. So.
I mean, yeah, it is. It is. Because, like, COVID is sort of, like, alleviating itself a little bit, thankfully.
Yeah.
But it's not fully gone. So But yeah, I mean, I think that whatever happens this year will dictate what happens in the following year, unless ESA are able to pull out some like crazy shit that are going to get people to want to storm E3 again, sort of thing.
Yeah, like I feel like the way they could really save E3 is if they do like you buy a pass either on like the Nintendo eShop or like Steam or the PlayStation Store, and you could play E3 demos at home. I feel like that would really drive a lot of sales and people like caring about E3. And I honestly think that's the only way you can really make people super interested anymore. And imagine, like, oh, you could play like God of War 2, like on your computer, on your PS5 right now. Like, just go ahead, download the demo, like for like.
But only for like a week or something.
Yeah, only for like that like weekend, and that's it. And buy like a pass or something because they need to make money. But but I don't know, I feel like that's the only way like they would get more hype for it. But as of right now, like people are just meme on it all the time. So.
I mean, I think we've talked about this before, but people are gonna dig into the code and shit like that, and stuff's gonna get leaked.
So data mine and stuff because they always have like a lot of the game code in there, so like that makes sense. But I don't know, just be smarter about it. Just get better.
Please don't do it.
Just don't do it. All right, so we got Disney's plus Obi Wan has been delayed to May 27th. When was it supposed to actually come out?
I think it was supposed to come out a few days before it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it was like the 24th or something, but
okay. So yeah, it's not that big of a delay.
Yeah,
but the first two episodes are gonna premiere together, which is good because usually like if they have like a big thing, usually they combine episodes together anyway, and maybe like it just makes sense to combine them both together anyway, so you get a longer episode instead. And I think that's fine. I think the Obi-Wan show looks like it's gonna be pretty good. I think sort of like bridging the prequels to the like original trilogy. That's pretty sick. And Obi-Wan's always been like a really cool character. I think we talked about this before, but as someone that grew up with the prequels, I always really enjoyed Obi-Wan's character. And it's just Anakin and Obi-Wan's like dynamic and stuff. Even the prequels really aren't that good. I've always enjoyed their dynamic. I know they're also like that in the Clone Wars show as well. Like they're pretty like bantering and stuff and always like that. So it's going to be cool to see what Obi-Wan's been doing. At least in between movies and stuff, like which I think is what this is supposed to be about. So...
Yeah, pretty much everything after Order 66, which we don't really know much about, honestly. So I think that this show is going to be really, really cool, especially because they got a lot of the original actors from the prequel stuff, like obviously Ewan McGregor's back as Obi-Wan, and then Hayden Christensen's supposed to be as Darth Vader in this show as well. So that episode's going to bang 100%. But yeah, I mean, like I've always loved Obi-Wan. Ever since I saw him in episode 3 and episode 2 in the movies, and then obviously within the Clone Wars, he's fucking great in there too. And seeing him and Anakin just sort of like bond with each other as sort of like best friends and mates and shit like that. But yeah, like the show, so many expectations, and I hope they get it right because, only the Mandalorian shows have been like really, really good. I haven't watched what's it called, The Bad Batch yet, but I heard that was good. And then the Boba Fett show did not do so well. But I feel like a show about Obi-Wan Kenobi and sort of what he's been doing, and everything that they've been sort of taking their time and sort of crafting the show into the way that it is. These first 2 episodes are hopefully gonna keep people in and hopefully hopefully keep them from wanting more, sort of thing. And I'm not exactly sure how many episodes this series is, whether it's 7 or 8, but hopefully it's 8.
Yeah, I just think with Star Wars, like I don't know how much more you can add to this whole Skywalker saga thing. Like, I think Obi-Wan, that's a good way to do it, but hopefully like after this, like they're kind of just done with the whole Skywalker, like the whole trilogy of stuff, or I guess I don't know, all the 9 movies. I don't know what you call that. Yeah, saga basically. Like I actually do like they are trying to like branch out, with Mandalorian and stuff. I mean, I like Rogue One a lot, and that was like nothing to do with. Like, I mean, it did, but like it was kind of like its own thing as well. So I'm hoping more Star Wars media is kind of based on like different things. Obviously, Boba Fett didn't really land, but I think if they keep trying, like, Star Wars is a big universe, and I think they could do like a ton of different stuff. So. Yeah, but I think this would turn out well. I also really like that they brought back all the old cast and stuff, and that this guy is old now, so he can play as old Obi-Wan. Like it kind of fits pretty well. He doesn't really need to do anything about it. Obviously, they might need to DH him for like if they want to do some things right after Order 66, because obviously he would still be young during that time. But I think that's pretty cool. And yeah, it's gonna be pretty neat because Obi-Wan's always been a fan favorite, so everyone's been asking for this like show forever. So yeah, ever since
it was announced and sort of I guess people bombarding Ewan McGregor like, hey, yo, are you doing a Star Wars thing? He's like, I can't say shit, fuck. But obviously, like, he does because he loves this character. And I did a quick Google search. It's only 6 episodes, so hopefully 6 episodes are good enough for us to, see Obi Wan and everything like that.
6 episodes feel so short.
It always does. It always does. But hopefully they're able to pull it off. All right, so last bit of the show we got is the PlayStation Plus rebrand. This is all big thing just because it was rumored for so long, and now it is official. So the PlayStation Plus rebrand, they have 3 different packages. They have the Essential, the Extra, and the Premium. So so I'll just do the monthly tiers. If you guys want to know the full price, you could just look up the article yourself. But the Essentials is $10 a month, the Extra is $15 a month, and then the Premium is $18 a month. So the Essentials is pretty much just PlayStation Plus, what you're getting today. Extras, you get all of that along with a catalog of up to 400 PlayStation 4 and PS5 games. So that's pretty cool. And then the Premium, you get the PS4 and PS5 games, but on top of that, you get the PS3 cloud games to stream through the cloud. And then you also get the library of PS1, PS2, and PSP games through cloud streaming as well. So and then for...
you could it says you could download some of them, but it's not really clear.
I mean, like, they're obviously being very vague in terms of everything. Like, we don't even know what games are going to be a part of this shit. But, I mean, like, $18 a month for all of that, like, what do you think about that?
Okay, so when it comes to things like this, like for the Nintendo Switch Online, it's only $20 for like the online, to play online, and you get like the NES, Super NES stuff, even with the N64 expansion.
And that's for a full year.
Yeah, that's for a full year for Nintendo, and with the N64 expansion, I think it's like now it's 60. I think it's 60 a year now. I think
I could look it up.
Okay, I think the expansion was 40 or 30. I can't remember. Either way, like I think that's fine because that's what PS Plus is like always. Same thing with Xbox Gold and stuff. It's always going to be 60 a year. So I don't really mind paying that for Switch too much because it's like I guess I get these games as well, so I don't really mind. With PlayStation, with Spartacus and stuff, and this is like $120 a year to play all these games, and we don't even know what the quality is. We don't know what games there are yet. Like PS3 games are still stuck cloud streaming. Like that's straight up. Like PS3 games are always going to be cloud streaming because the PS3 was just weird, right? The PlayStation 1, PS2, and PSP games, which is cool. They're really vague about it, but they say available in both streaming and download options. I don't know if that means all games are going to have 2 options, or if some games are going to be download plus streaming and then the rest are streaming. They're not really clear on that wording at all.
If I had to guess, maybe it's because some games are fucking huge. That could be it. The big ass like RPGs and shit like that.
Yeah, it could be like I don't know, if you want to play Kingdom Hearts like 2, like stream it or something. But that actually makes sense. But we're pretty against the whole idea of game streaming just because like it feels borked and stuff. And I just don't really like it because when it comes to a game, your inputs have to be like precise, right? Like you don't want to be like, maybe with like a turn-based RPG is fine, like that won't really matter too much. But when it comes to like a platformer or something, like you want to make sure your inputs are feeling good because the game would just feel like garbage. And it's kind of weird. They also just excluded Vita. Like you might as well just threw in Vita.
Yeah, I know, right? Like
I know there was like barely anything in there. Like there was only like one Uncharted game and like Persona 4 Golden, and that's about it. But you can still throw it in there. But yeah, honestly, it's really going to come down to the games, right? Like I if it comes to me, I'm going to need to know the games. Obviously, I would like all my PS2 mascot games, like Jag, Ratchet, Sly. I think that's a no-brainer. Plus some like other wacky ones I don't want to put in there. PSP games, no, same thing. I would like to have my like nostalgia bait stuff like Ratchet and Clank, not Jak and Daxter. No, Daxter, yes, not
Daxter, yes.
Not Daxter, yes, not Jak and Daxter: The Lost Frontier. That game was garbage, but I'm gonna have to know the games before I actually buy it. And even then, I won't really stick with it. Like I'm probably gonna have like a feeling like, I want to play all the Ratchet and Clank games again, so I'm gonna like pay for this month. Binge through all the games. I could finish Ratchet and Clank games in like a day because I'm like crazy. I played all of them like 30 times, so I kind of know what I'm doing. Then I would just unsubscribe to it and just go back to regular PS Plus, right? Like I wouldn't really stick with it for a year unless I like want to work on a huge backlog of stuff. But again, I'm gonna have to know where are the games, right? Like I think that's the main issue right now. I don't know what the games are, so.
I mean, like you said earlier with the Switch Online, that's $50 a year, which
$50
obviously like you're not getting as much comparatively.
Yeah.
Like obviously, but then again, like the quality of games you can argue may be a little bit better, and also you're getting a shit ton more games potentially.
Plus, you get like the DLCs. Now, I bought the Animal Crossing DLC.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was gonna buy this, but with the Mario Kart DLC, I'm like, I might as well just get the expansion at this point. So like, whatever, I'll just get it. And if they decide to throw in more DLC over time, I'll just have it. So
Yeah, I mean, like if they do Mario Party DLC, I'm sure that that'll be a part of it.
yeah.
But going back to PlayStation, I mean, like you could potentially have like it says up to 400 of the most enjoyable PS4 and PS5 games, and then up to 340 additional games from the PS3, PS1, PS2, and PSP. So like you said, I kind of need to know what the fuck the games are, because like if I'm gonna be shelling out almost $20 a month to play like, I don't know, fucking Daxter or some shit, you know? Because, like, I think my PSP is broken. So, like, that's probably the only, like, feasible way I can play it. Yeah. So, like, those things are ancient and shit like that. But, yeah, I'm going to need to know what the games are and, like, how well the streaming is. Because I remember years ago, I saw a screenshot of, like, a tweet. Someone was, like, trying to play, like, some PS2 game on PlayStation Now, which is pretty much what this is. Like, they're just merging it with the PlayStation Plus stuff. Someone was trying to play a PS2 game, and they were in queue for it. I was like, what the fuck you mean in queue for it?
Oh,
so,
no.
hopefully it's not that bad. Obviously, like, that was, like, years and years ago. But, you know, with the whole streaming stuff, like, obviously you're going to need like a stable internet connection, but even then you have to hope that PlayStation has their own stable cloud service that it doesn't hinder your play too much when you're like trying to platform or like when you're trying to do like a precise input, because you know that can be frustrating and that can be annoying. And you know, if you're going to, I guess, like train your brain to be like, all right, so like I'm going to hit X and it's going to jump a second later, that's going to throw you off when you go back to like playing like a normal game kind of thing. Maybe.
Yeah, like I said, it just depends on the game. It also depends on like if it is downloadable. Like, let's say like everything is good, we have the games we want. Like you get the option of downloading and streaming for everything. That's pretty cool. Even if you do download it, what's the quality of the emulation? Because the Jak and Daxter games are you can play basically the PS2 versions on PS4. You can buy them. Like this is not the collection from the PS3. Like those were upscaled to like whatever, like 720p or whatever. Like and those were good. Those were good points. I'm not talking about that. This is like basically straight up PS2 emulation on PS4 you can buy right now, and those run like garbage. Like those have been infamously bad like ports of those Jak and Daxter games, and those are basically straight like rips or emulations from the PS2 games. And if they're all like that, then yeah, I'm not paying for this. So like, there's a lot of hurdles this has to like go through until it's like worth it. Because one, it's expensive. Two, we don't know if it's all going to be downloaded or streaming. Like we don't know what's going on with that. Besides PS3, PS3 we know is all streaming, which is kind of bad, but whatever. Then we have to know the emulation quality. So yeah, there's a lot of like different parts here that we have to know before we really like before I put my money down. So this is definitely something I think everyone should wait for like videos on. Like wait for like, you know, what the catalog of games are, how they run, how the streaming quality is. Like there's a lot that could go wrong here. Yeah, and that's just going to, you know, that's going to depend on how well this does. So
yeah, pretty much just wait for Austin Evans or Linus Tech Tips to take a look at this shit. Yeah, you know, have them spend their money first and then report back on YouTube and be like, all right, guys, it's dog shit or it's actually not that bad. I think a lot of people are overlooking the PS Plus Extra one just because. I mean, you're going to get a bunch of PS4 and PS5 games. And, like, if you have a PS5, like, if you just, like, bought a PS5 because you sold your arm and leg for it and shit like that, you know, you can pay an extra $100 a year to get up to 400 games. And you get to play them for free. And, you know, you get to download them, hopefully. So, yeah. And apparently PS5 games, like, when they launched, they're not going to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's not
which
like
is a bit
Pass,
strange. Yeah, so it's not like Game Pass. You know, Sony's still, like... We know y'all are still gonna buy this shit, so like, but you know that's a little strange, especially since they are competing directly with Microsoft. I think that was a slight missed opportunity. We'll see if that'll backfire them in the end, because you know Game Pass is fucking broken, honestly. Like just by looking at it, like I haven't used it yet, but just by looking at it, I'm like, how do you get this much shit for like less than $20 a month, kind of thing? You know?
Game Pass is very strong. Like the only because Game Pass is so inexpensive. Like the only thing you need is time, which you know it's hard to get when you get older. But like you know that's pretty crazy value. And I think this answer to it isn't like really up to snuff. But I think the extra thing, like you said, is pretty good. Like if you're like new to PlayStation and haven't really like bought any of the new like first party games over the last few years, I think getting this tier PS Plus is worth it. Because again, you get at launch including Death Stranding, God of War, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Mortal Kombat 11, and Returnal, which is like, like that's a new game. So I think that's pretty good value right there. If you just got a PlayStation 5 or 4, you could like sort of play these like great games like right off the bat. So I think that's pretty good value if you don't own any of these games. Yeah, obviously for me, like I'm not really looking at that because I usually buy them when they come out because I like the first party Sony games. So I'm mostly looking at the premium version. But yeah, if you're new to Sony and like you want to play their like catalog of games, I think that extra value is like it's good. So
yeah, and I guess that's Sony's advantage as well with the premium stuff is like they have a big catalog of just like really good like classic games that people want to play or haven't played yet. Yeah. Like when I'm looking at the PS1, like I'm looking at games that are like on the fucking eBay market for like hundreds of dollars. So like if they got Klonoa 1, shit, I might pay $20 a month just to play that shit because that game.
I was gonna say I'm gonna play some like Klonoa 1, like Ape Escape or some shit.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe if you played the new Spyro and Crash games, you might want to go back and see how they worked back then, sort of thing. Because a lot of people got introduced to Crash with the Insane Trilogy, but they've never played the original PS1 versions. So it's just a matter of what their games are because we saw what happened with the PlayStation 1 Classic, and those games were not fucking it.
It depends too, because a lot of the PS1, this really hurts mostly the PS1 than the other ones. A lot of these IPs aren't really owned by them anymore. Like Crash and Spyro are like, I guess Microsoft now. They're owned by Microsoft, so I don't know if they could even have Crash and Spyro like in there. Metal Gear, Konami's always like kind of an asshole about it. All these other games are just like, like Castlevania Symphony of the Night, again, Konami. Like Capcom with all the Resident Evil games that people play there. Like, all this shit, it's like third-party stuff. Like I don't know if they could really get a hand on it. Like it's gonna be really like weak sauce games because it wasn't until the PS2 where you get like God of War, Ratchet and Clank, Jack. Like those are still owned by Naughty Dog and Insomniac and Santa Monica, so they could do that if they wanted to. And that doesn't bother me because we grew up with the PS2, so like I'm pretty happy. But if you grew up with the PS1, like I feel like you're gonna be kind of disappointed if you didn't get these big games because they're not really owned by them anymore. So yeah, that's another issue.
Yeah, and like another question I have is that like, so let's say you bought like the PlayStation Plus Essentials, like $60 a year, but now you want to upgrade. Is there going to be like a discount to that? Am I just paying like the difference? Like what if I want to pay, twice as much as what I'm paying so I could get these, PlayStation 1 and PS2 games, so now I'm paying from 60 to 120. Is there going to be a discount to that? Am I just paying the difference? Like what's that about? They haven't given details of it as far as I could tell on the article. So hopefully that'll be sorted out because I'm sure that there's going to be people out there that already have PlayStation Plus. Like they've like fucking stacked like their subscription for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's because they did it on
sale,
bought it on sale, or like they got it for Christmas, so they just like redeemed it. So I wonder if there's gonna be like a discount to that or something like that. Because I feel like for existing PlayStation Plus users, like right now, or like maybe before they even like announced this, to like benefit them to be like, hey, if you want to upgrade a PS Plus Extra or PS Plus Premium, we'll discount it for you for the yearly or whatever model that they went with.
Right.
That could be good, but then again, we've noticed over the past year or two, Sony's not really consumer friendly. No, is a nice way to put it.
Yeah, Sony, like it kind of sucks too, because Microsoft is doing really cool stuff for all their retro games and stuff, but we didn't grow up with it. Well, I didn't really grow up with an Xbox like original. Like I don't really have nostalgia for that. So it's kind of annoying that Sony that I really grew up with like has been really bad with like sort of just giving me like I want to play Ratchet and Clank again, like the PS2 games, but it's still stuck. I still have my fat PS3 from like 2007 like on my setup there because like sometimes I don't know, I want to play Ratchet and Clank, but I have to like play the PS3 version. So I'm just hoping they, everything's sorted. It's bad enough PS3 games are streaming, but
yeah,
whatever. Like at this point, I'll take it. So
yeah, honestly, I'll take it too. Honestly,
yeah. It just hopefully there's a bigger catalog of PS3 games because there already are some on PS Now right now, but but like it's not like a huge selection. So I'm hoping that there's more stuff. I don't think the Infamous games are there. or God of War 3.
That's
God of War 3 is
crazy.
just buy, I think.
I mean, God of War 3's, I think they remastered it for
yeah,
PS4.
they remastered
so.
that. So yeah, I don't know. It's all a mess. So it really depends
Yeah.
on. I just need to know the list and how the quality of the emulation or streaming is, and then I'll make a decision based on that. And then I'll probably replay the Ratchet & Clank games and be like, this is my opinion on like how this works. So.
Yeah, hopefully, when the PS3 streaming comes out, because I'm sure, I hope they know. That's what a lot of people are gonna go for, because it's like PS3 games, they've been stuck behind that forever. Like you've been able to play PS2 games obviously on the PS2 and then the first PS3, and then for some reason the PS3 also, or no, the PS4 had backwards compatibility with the PS1, right, or some shit, weird.
No, wait. No, I think the PS4 had like no backwards compatibility.
Okay.
The PS3 could play PS1.
I'm getting it confused. Yeah. The PS3 had backwards compatibility with the PS1
but only
games.
some. Like my fat PS3 could play all like PlayStation games, before PS3 games. But later versions of the PS3, I think could only play like PS1 games or something. It was weird.
Yeah, so, it was definitely strange what Sony's doing with their backwards compatibility and stuff like that. But hopefully we'll get more details on this in terms of like how upgrading is going to work and stuff like that, because there's going to be people out there that have years and years of PlayStation Plus, and they probably want to upgrade to premium, but they don't want to outright pay the $120 again.
Yeah, it's I think it's going to just be due to difference, right? Like I think it's like if you want to upgrade, just pay 60, or you add like whatever amount was to the monthly sub or something like that. That's what I think is going to happen. But yeah.
We're just gonna have to wait and see, because
my favorite thing.
I'm sure that there's gonna be some people that already have PlayStation Plus, and then like they see the catalog of games and they're like, I want to play that PS2 game, so they'll just pay maybe the 1 month for that premium and then move on from there, and then it'll go back to normal. But who knows? This is obviously like a very complicated system, just because they're merging it with PS Plus, right? So it's gonna be like very interesting and very hard for them to sort of sort everything out. And I'm sure that they're in boardrooms right now or months ago being like, okay, but what if someone wants to do this, and then what if someone wants to do this? So hopefully they have all the answers sorted out, because if not, someone on Twitter is gonna ask, obviously.
That like always happens.
All right, so is there anything else you'd like to add, good stuff?
No, I think that's everything.
All right, so thank you guys for listening to the Travis and Damian podcast, episode 84. We will see you guys 2 weeks from now with another episode.
Later. I could do this now. Look at that.